Mahadev Atmanaha. In the previous video, we discussed the Yajur Ved. We saw the various different recensions of the Yajur Ved and how they give rise to home, yajna, sacrifices and prayers. Now we come to the fourth Ved, Atharv Ved. The term Atharv Ved comes from two terms, Atharvan and Ved. Ved meaning knowledge, and Atharvan, the name of Rishi Atharva, the seer, the Rishi who heard this Ved. The name Atharva etymologically comes from the Sanskrit root turvi, hinsayam, which is a violent dhatu, a violent root. When we put a, the exact opposite is true, and therefore Atharva means non-violence. Therefore Atharva Ved is the Ved, the knowledge which provides non-violence. Another explanation has also been given that Tharva is a motion providing dhatu. It is one which shows movement. Therefore Atharva is the opposite, which means stopping movement or providing stability. Therefore Atharva Ved means the knowledge by which we get stability. Atharva Ved is also called Atharvangiro Ved because along with Rishi Atharva, Rishi Angira also heard this Ved, and as a compound of both of those names, we have Atharvangiro Ved. In the Mahabhashya, Maharishi Patanjali quotes 9 different recensions of the Atharva Ved. However, unfortunately, only 2 remain today, the Shaunakiya Shakha and the Paipalada Shakha. The Paipalada Shakha is incomplete, and the only complete recension, the only complete Shakha that we have is the Shaunakiya Shakha, and it is this Shakha that we will be discussing in this video. The Shaunakiya Shakha has got 20 chapters. In Sanskrit they're called Kand, and contains 5,897 mantras, with about 1,200 of these taken from the Rig Ved. In the very first suk, the very first hymn of the Atharva Ved itself is called Medha Janan, essentially the origin of intelligence and intellect. In this first praise, the very first mantra almost encapsulates completely the entire Atharva Ved. All the various different subjects which will be discussed in the Atharva Ved somehow find some sort of indication in this very first utterance of the Atharva Ved. Let us take a look. Ye trishaptah parayanti vishwa rupani bibhrataha vachaspatir tesham tanvo adya dadhatu me. O Vachaspati, pray bestow upon me today the strength of the union of 3 and 7, which holds and provides motion to the various forms of the world. In this one mantra, which is of course in reference to Vachaspati, a prayer to Vachaspati, showing some sort of social structure, social order, giving rise to various different dharmashastra and the academic tradition of dharmashastras in the future. Along with that, there is the mention of Trishapta. Trishapta is a compound of 3 and Sapta, 3 and 7. Individually, these are very, very important numbers in the Sanatan Dharma, in that we have the 3 Trigun, Sattvagun, Rajogun and Tamogun. We also have the Tridev, which is the very basis, the very soul, the very emphasis of the Sanatan Dharma, the Trinity, the Vedic Trinity. Along with this, we also have the entire concept of time and time periods mentioned in this one union of 2 terms, Trishaptah. We have 7 for the various different days of the week, and also the 3 different time periods, what we call Bhut, Vartaman and Bhavishyat, which is the past, the present and the future. This encapsulates the very concept of time. We also have numbers. Mathematics as well is shown as an indication here, 3 and 7 together, making the number 10, an indication perhaps of the numerical place value system. Of course 0 was established later on, but an indication clearly was mentioned here. We also have bal, or power, being asked. This can be adhyatmic power, this can be the power of the mind, but it is of course also asking for physical power. And this essentially also shows the life sciences, what we call Ayurveda. All of these are also shown. The various different worlds are also mentioned in this mantra, giving rise to the very concept of the cyclical nature of universe, motion, and so on. Now we will take a look at the 20 different kands, summaries, of course, of all of these different kand and what they contain. Do note, however, how the various different subjects and concepts mentioned in these kand give rise to independent darshanik and academic traditions of which Atharva Ved is the origin. Let us take a look. In the first kand, there are various different hymns to the Vedic gods, mantras for protection and prosperity, even invisibility. In the second kand, we have mantras against fear, diseases, amulets for protection, and also mantras of love. In the third kand, we have the mantra for victory, new homes, and various different tools are also mentioned. It is important to know that this kand, the third kand, is very important because it mentions architecture as well. New homes, the mantras for new homes. In the Agni Puran and various different other texts, architecture is also mentioned. Building of new homes and various of discussions of these sorts. Today we also have what is known as the science of direction, Vastu Shastra, but the origin of all of this is certainly the Ved, and in particular the Atharva Ved. The fourth kand of the Atharva Ved has got mantras against wild animals, mantras for initiating kings into kingdoms, and prayers to the various different Vedic gods. The fifth kand are the mantras for increasing wealth and restoring fame. The sixth kand in references to funeral rites, the mention of senses and cures of poison, giving rise to the entire tradition of Ayurveda. And all these different discussions of cures and various different methods and procedures. The seventh kand, the prosperity of kingdoms, prayers for travelers, and the mention of moon. In the eighth kand, there is a mantra for saving a dying person and restoring health. In the ninth kand, there are mention of architecture, cattle, and planets. Planets, of course, giving rise to the entire academic tradition, the Vedic tradition of astrology and astronomy. In the 10th kand, there is the glorification of the cow, of Gaumata, prayers for prosperity and fame. In the 11th kand, there is a mention of brahmacharya, a glory of pran and breath control. Clearly, the very profound tradition of pranayam finds mention here. Also, there is a mention of brahmacharya, which happens to be the first stage of Vedic life. Of course, there are 4 different stages, but brahmacharya is mentioned here, and this is the origin of this practice. In the 12th kand, there are different funeral prayers, householder duties, and charity. So as we can see, we've moved from brahmacharya and we're also discussing householder duties. So this practice of these various different stages do find mention in the Atharva Ved. In the 13th kand, there is a mention of Surya Narayan, and of course his divine glory. In the 14th kand, there are mention of marriages, what we call the Panigrahana mantras, the mantras for Vivaha Sanskar, various different ceremonies, and the mantras. In the 15th kand, there are various different hymns and references to the other Ved, medicinal herbs as well. Again, a mention of both Ayurveda and, of course, growing of these what are called Oshadhis, these medicinal herbs and medicinal plants. In the 16th kand, there are the purification of water, long life and strength. In the 17th kand, mention of earthly life as well as heavenly life. In the 18th kand, various different mantras primarily taken from the Rig Ved, funeral mantras, funeral hymns. In the 19th kand, we have the hymns to water, peace, mantras for protection, and so on. In the 20th kand, we have various different sukt to the various different Vedic devatas, the Vedic gods. To summarize all these 20 different kand, it is quite clear and evident that all the practices which today form the Vedic culture, whether it may be the tradition of mathematics, the academic tradition of mathematics, without which no future mathematic or scientific study would have been possible, the origin of that is this Atharva Ved. Life sciences like Ayurveda find mention here. Astronomy, astrology, the Smriti texts of social order, darshan texts, various different rituals, and a range of other academic, darshanik procedures and traditions also find their origin, they originate from Atharva Ved. Atharva Ved is quite clearly the very origin of Vedic practices which continue till today. Do continue as we will be discussing the various different other shastras of the Sanatan Dharma. Please do like, share and subscribe this video. Mahadev.